I'm Molly Turk, Executive Director of Communications with San Angelo ISD, and I am joined by Mr. Michael Kallenbach. He is our Executive Director of Student and Data Services at San Angelo ISD. Officer Richard Espinosa is the Public Information Officer at the San Angelo Police Department, and Officer Kelsey Hernandez is the Public Information Officer and Recruiter at the San Angelo Police Department. During active safety events with San Angelo ISD, we collaborate with the police department to support safer school environments. So today we're going to go through our safety protocols that we have, how we collaborate together, and then how our parents and our community can support us during those events. So San Angelo ISD uses the standards response protocol developed by the Texas State School Safety Center to let parents, teachers, students, and staff quickly understand what is going on and how to respond. The standard response protocol is based on the following actions: hold, secure, lockdown, evacuate, and shelter. So let's discuss a lockdown. So what is a lockdown?
So a lockdown will be called when there is an emergency situation. Now, I want to be clear at first that in our San Angelo ISD schools, we've adopted a protocol that our classroom doors and our external doors so the external doors are the ones that you could enter from outside of the school property. But our classroom doors are also mandated to be closed and locked at all times when students are inside. So that's a little bit different than in the past. So we're kind of in a lockdown anyway, but once we go into that protocol, the training is different. We're understanding now that there is an emergency situation going on. Obviously, we'll be doing our communicating so that everybody between all of our first responders, but with our police department on what's happening. And in a lockdown situation, police are always responding to us. And students and teachers, I guess the next question is going to be about how they're trained. So students are trained to listen to the teacher or the adult that is in charge of them at that moment, because what we've learned is that no situation is the same. Mm-hmm. And just trying to hide may not be the right situation or the right action for that situation. So teachers are trained to know what to do, and kids are trained to listen to and do exactly what the adult is saying to do, because they might the right call might be to move. Principals and police might be telling them do this, and so that's how we're going to train. In other words, you can't train students for every possible scenario that might come up. So what we do is train them to listen to the teacher. If the teacher says everyone's going to get to this side of the room, we're going to turn the lights off, however that plays out, that's what's going to happen. But as far as the protocol, the door is locked. We're going to stay out of sight, try to be quiet, and so that's the protocol as far as a lockdown goes.
So when we enter a lockdown, what do we expect from our parents and our community? I know we encourage our parents to kind of keep an open line of communications with their students and just ensure that their kids know they're supported, and text them or call them encouraging words just to make sure that they are listening to their teacher and that they are doing what they're told to do in those situations.
Yes, so we want to be clear that we are not trying to discourage communication between parents and students. What we do want to encourage is for parents to stay connected to our website with the link that we would be pushing out to them. So to know as a parent that you're going to be getting communication from the school in a lockdown. It's going to be texted or emailed, or both. In fact, in that case, it's going to be texted and emailed with the link to the updated to-the-minute page that we put out of as much information as we are able to share at the time. So while texting your child is great. It's fine. We're okay with communicating with your child. We know that we need that and we want that. But to stay connected to that page, because that is where the information is going to be as accurate and up to date as possible, as well as making sure that we avoid any further complications. And I'll let y'all speak to that too, as well as what can happen when if parents decide to come to the school in a lockdown, how that can actually complicate things as far as that goes.
And you're 100% correct, especially for because the safety of the faculty and the students is the main priority of the San Angelo Police Department, and we're going to do whatever we have to do to make sure to ensure that safety during that lockdown procedure. So the mass influx of parents or anybody really responding to the school is going to hinder our ability from being able to ensure that. Because while we're actively investigating these incidents, whether the threat be at the school or off campus, we definitely want to be able to do our jobs to ensure that safety, and having parents or anybody else show up to the scene is something that will hinder our ability from doing that. Now, we definitely want to communicate with the public as well too, whether that be off of social media or through our NICSO alerts, but we're obviously going to be working in conjunction with the SAISD to make sure that whatever information we do put out is as accurate and in line with what y'all put out as well too. So there's obviously we don't want there to be any type of confusion. It's something that, whenever it comes down to, we would like the parents to know to follow y'all's link or pay attention to San Angelo Police Department Facebook or the NICSO alerts regarding the information that they need to receive, not so much from the students themselves, because things do kind of get mixed in translation from the top all the way down to the bottom. But definitely pay attention to those alerts, pay attention to y'all's Facebook page, y'all's website itself, as we will be putting out the most accurate information at that time through those avenues.
And San Angelo ISD will make every effort to keep our families informed of when they can come to the school and do any pickup or drop off, or if the situation has been resolved and the investigation is complete and that things have resumed normal schedule.
So it's also important to remember for a lockdown situation that the police department has many different divisions, which not everyone wears the same uniform. We obviously have a different uniform than patrol officers, and the criminal investigations division is usually in plainclothes, who is actually going to be responding to the scene and investigate the incident. So it's just important to remember from faculty and staff and parents that there's going to be all hands on deck with the police department, and they might not all be in the same uniform.
As well as other law enforcement agencies as well too. We have a direct line of communication with local law enforcement to include DPS, Sheriff's Office, Customs, whoever may be out there law enforcement wise, we have a direct line of communication with them. And it is just one alert that gets sent out advising those other agencies to meet at this location. We will disperse them accordingly as far as where we need them in the event of an active attack or something along the lines of that. But we determine that through our incident command and through our administration to be able to contact them. And one of the things that we also want to reiterate as well too is in the event where we're going to have a large amount of law enforcement officers responding to the scene, or EMS and fire personnel, with the large influx of people responding to the school to pick up their kids or see what's going on, it really hinders their ability from being able to move in there and do what they need to do. So that's one of the reasons why we ask that if you don't have a student there at that school, to find an alternative route, or don't show up to the school asking to get a student out or something along the lines of that, because we're actively trying to do what we can. And in the event somebody needs medical attention or law enforcement are actively showing up, we don't want to hinder their ability, because time is valuable at that point in at that incident, and we definitely want to make sure that we can do our jobs accordingly.
I think it's important to reiterate that in the event of any safety protocol, but especially when we enter lockdown, parents can find information directly from SAISD at www.saisd.org/safety, but then they can also find the information from SAPD through NICSOL alerts that they can sign up for on your website.
Correct.
And also on your social medias.
Yes, we do. We have Facebook and we do have Twitter, and obviously, we're going to be working with y'all as far as putting that information out, and we're going to do our best to make sure the public knows that, hey, there is an incident involved at a local area school. Law enforcement is on scene. The situation is contained. There's no active threat. Whatever we have to do to keep the public informed, but obviously, in a situation where there is a potential threat or an active threat going on, we're going to try to get his information out as quickly as we can. But again, safety of the public as well as the faculties and the students is our main priority on our end.
And typically how we've done it in the past is obviously we relay the information to you guys because y'all can get that information faster to parents. Because the police department is in the middle of an investigation and they're trying to determine if there is an actual threat and get someone in custody if there needs to be. So always SAISD is usually going to be the first one to put that information out, and then the police department will when its safety allows it.
Yeah, it's also important to know that in all of these protocols, we're gonna opt for a more safe or a more further protocol than maybe what is needed, but we're going to always opt for a safer option. So if it's a lockdown, we are responding in that way, and it may or may not turn out to be as threatening as what we originally thought, but if we're going to err, we're going to err on the side of safety. It's always the first priority.
Absolutely.